Okay, so I'd like to welcome you back to Neshama B'Neshama. I'd just like to share with you that this is part of a ongoing blog you can also find on the People's Talmud. If you have a chance to like the page on Facebook, much appreciated. However, today we're going to talk about this idea of crime and why crime doesn't really pay. It's based on a book that came out in 1970. Some of you might be old enough to remember, by one of the classic hippies of the time turned Wall Street executive many years later, Abbie Hoffman, when he wrote his famous or infamous book called Steal This Book. It was a bestseller. I don't really know how many people actually bought it. Maybe people stole it. I would kind of feel funny being the one guy who actually bought it. But Steal This Book was based on the whole idea of the concept that capitalism is a destructive tool, and therefore if people have a lot of money, it's okay to steal their money because they probably didn't make it in a kosher or permissible way to begin with. And even if they did, that's money which really belongs to the people. I guess it's kind of like Robin Hood on steroids, right? Robin Hood comes along with this idea that it's okay to steal from the rich if you're going to be able to hand it over to the poor. I'm not really going to address that whole issue, but what I do want to talk about is an interesting concept that King Solomon speaks about. And he says that like this. He says that the problem with stealing is that you taste the taste of theft. In other words, the problem with stealing is, although in and of itself a problem from what you actually steal, but what you've really stolen is yourself. A person steals their neshama every time a person does something which is really not in sync with why they've been created to be here in this world. And the idea of stealing something, begins from the idea of jealousy. And inside that jealousy, we know that there are three things which take a person out of this world. And what does it mean that it takes a person out of this world? It means it takes a person out of his world. It takes us away from who we are. Because being jealous of another person's property is a blindness to the awareness of God in your own life. Because if, like the Malbim explains when it says in the Ten Commandments to not covet or be jealous of another person's property, he points to the animal world. He said, did you ever see a giraffe be jealous of a lion? Or did you ever see a cat jealous of a dog? Each animal understands that it has what it needs. And so each one of us is a unique creation from God. If we see somebody else's success, not only should we not be jealous, we should be happy. Because in understanding that we are a goy echad, a united nation of one people, then therefore the success of one is the success of all of us. And therefore this is really the idea of theft. The focus is not on being jealous in terms of what it is for other people. It's really a question of understanding that all that I have is yismach bechelko, being rejoicing in my portion, because I understand that whatever it is, there's a message in God for me at that moment. And therefore I have to treat my soul with that which is my most precious commodity, which I should never let anybody steal, and be sure that I don't steal from it myself.